Minji Park gripped the steering wheel tighter as the engine made another terrible sound. The car shook once, then twice, and then it simply stopped moving. She pressed the gas pedal, but nothing happened. Her heart sank as she guided the dead vehicle to the side of the road. "Mama?" Seo-yun's small voice came from the back seat. Her daughter sat in her special car seat, the one designed for children who needed extra support. At 7 years old, Seo-yun was small for her age. Cerebral palsy affected her legs and made it hard for her to walk or stand without help. She used a wheelchair to get around. "It's okay, sweetie," Minji said, trying to keep her voice calm. "The car just needs to rest for a minute." But Minji knew it was not okay. She looked at the dashboard. The check engine light had been on for 3 weeks. She had been saving money to get it fixed, but there was never enough. Between rent, Seo-yun's therapy sessions, medications, and food, there was barely anything left. Her 2 jobs kept them alive, but just barely. She tried to start the car again. Nothing, not even a sound. Minji looked out the window. Dark clouds were gathering in the sky. The weather forecast that morning had warned about a big storm coming. She had hoped to get home before it arrived. They were only 3 blocks from their house, but those 3 blocks might as well have been 3 miles. She reached for her phone to call someone. Anyone. But when she pressed the button, the screen flickered once and went black. The battery was dead. She had forgotten to charge it the night before because she had worked late at the convenience store. "Mama, I'm cold," Seo-yun said. Minji turned around. Her daughter's therapy session had lasted longer than usual. The therapist had wanted to try some new exercises. Seo-yun looked tired. Her small body was slumped in the car seat and her eyes looked heavy. "I know, baby. We're going home now. We just have to walk a little bit." Minji got out of the car and opened the trunk. She pulled out Seo-yun's wheelchair and set it up on the sidewalk. The wheelchair was not new. She had bought it used from another family 2 years ago. It was heavy and the wheels sometimes stuck, but it was all she could afford. She opened the back door and carefully lifted Seo-yun out of the car seat. Her daughter's arms went around her neck. Seo-yun could not walk on her own, and carrying her was hard, but Minji had done it so many times that her body knew exactly how to move. She settled Seo-yun into the wheelchair and tucked a blanket around her legs. The wind was picking up now. Leaves blew across the street. The first drops of rain started to fall. "Here we go," Minji said, forcing a smile. She grabbed her purse from the car and locked the doors. Not that there was much inside worth stealing. She began pushing the wheelchair down the sidewalk. The wheelchair was even heavier than usual. One of the wheels was not turning smoothly. Minji had to put all her strength into pushing it. Her arms ached. She had been working since 6 that morning. First at the hospital where she worked as a receptionist, then rushing to pick up Seo-yun from therapy. The rain came down harder. Within minutes, both of them were getting wet. Minji's thin jacket was not made for this kind of weather. Seo-yun's blanket was starting to soak through. A car drove past them. Minji waved her hand, hoping the driver would stop. The car slowed down for just a moment. The driver looked at them through the window. Minji saw the person's eyes move from her face to the wheelchair. Then the car sped up and drove away. "Please," Minji whispered, but the car was already gone. Another car came from the other direction. Minji waved again, more desperately this time. This driver did not even slow down. The car's tires splashed water from a puddle onto them. Thunder rumbled in the distance. Seo-yun made a frightened sound. She did not like loud noises. The cerebral palsy made it hard for her to speak clearly, but Minji always understood what her daughter was trying to say. "It's okay," Minji said, trying to sound brave. "It's just noise. It can't hurt us," but the storm was getting worse fast. The wind pushed against them, making it even harder to move the wheelchair forward. Rain poured down now, not just drops, but sheets of water. Minji could barely see where she was going. She tried to push faster, but the wheelchair hit a crack in the sidewalk and jerked to a stop. She pulled it back and tried to go around, but the wheel got stuck. She had to lift the front of the wheelchair to get it moving again. Her arms were shaking now. She was so tired. She had woken up at 5 that morning to make breakfast and get Seo-yun ready for school. Then her shift at the hospital. Then picking up Seo-yun. Then therapy. She had not eaten anything since noon. 2 more cars passed. Neither one stopped. Minji wanted to scream at them. Did they not see? Did they not care? She was alone in the rain with a disabled child and no one would help them. She thought about her life before Seo-yun's father left. He had promised to love them forever. He had promised to take care of them. But when the doctors explained what cerebral palsy meant, when they talked about wheelchairs and therapy and a lifetime of special needs, he had looked at Seo-yun differently. Within 6 months, he was gone. He sent money sometimes, but he never called. He never visited. Her own parents had not been much better. They lived 2 hours away and rarely came to see them. Her mother had said once that having a disabled grandchild was too hard to explain to her friends. Those words had cut deeper than any knife, so Minji had learned to do everything alone. She worked 2 jobs. She took Seo-yun to every therapy appointment. She learned how to do physical exercises at home. She became mother, father, nurse, and therapist all at once. She never complained. She never asked for help. But right now in this storm, she needed help desperately. There was a bus stop ahead with a small roof. Minji pushed the wheelchair toward it with the last of her strength. They made it under the shelter just as lightning flashed across the sky. Thunder followed immediately, so loud it made both of them jump. "Mama!" Seo-yun cried out. Her little hands reached up. Minji knelt down beside the wheelchair. She took off her wet jacket and wrapped it around Seo-yun, trying to give her daughter any extra warmth. The jacket was soaked, but it was better than nothing. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here," Seo-yun was shivering. Her lips looked a little blue. Minji's heart filled with fear. They needed to get home. They needed to get warm and dry. But the storm was too strong now. She could barely see the street in front of them. The rain came sideways, blowing under the bus stop roof. More cars drove past. Some of them had to slow down because of the flooding water on the street. Minji waved at each one. None of them stopped. She saw faces turn away. She saw windows that stayed rolled up. She saw humanity drive past without even trying. Tears mixed with the rain on her face. She felt so small, so helpless, so angry. "Why won't anyone help us?" she whispered. The temperature was dropping. Autumn nights got cold quickly. Seo-yun's shivering was getting worse. Minji pulled her daughter close, trying to share body heat, but she was shivering too. Her wet clothes clung to her skin. Her shoes were full of water. "Mama." "Cold." Seo-yun's words were hard to understand, but Minji heard them clearly. "I know, sweetie. I know. Just hold on. We'll figure something out." But what? She had no phone. No one was stopping to help. The storm showed no signs of slowing down. They were 3 blocks from home, but it might as well have been 3 miles. She could try to push the wheelchair again, but in this wind and rain it seemed impossible. And Seo-yun was already so cold. Lightning flashed again, closer this time. In that brief moment of light, Minji saw their neighborhood in the distance. She saw the houses with their warm lights on. She saw families safe inside. She thought about all the neighbors who had seen her struggle over the years but had never offered help. They smiled politely. They said hello, but when things got hard, they looked away, just like the cars driving past right now. Thunder boomed so loud it seemed to shake the ground. Seo-yun cried out in fear. Her small body tensed up, which sometimes happened before a seizure. Minji knew the signs. Stress could trigger them. Cold could trigger them. Fear could trigger them. "No, no, no," Minji said quickly. "Look at me, Seo-yun. Look at Mama's eyes." Seo-yun's frightened eyes found hers. Minji started humming a song they both loved. She hummed and rocked gently, trying to calm her daughter down. Slowly, she felt Seo-yun's body relax a little, but they could not stay here. They needed help. They needed someone to care. The rain poured down harder than ever. The street was flooding now. Water rushed along the gutters like a river. The wind howled. The world felt dark and cold and completely alone. Then Seo-yun made a sound. Not a scared sound this time. An urgent sound. Her small arm lifted and her finger pointed out into the rain. Her mouth moved, trying to form words. "What is it, baby?" Minji asked. Seo-yun pointed harder. "Man, there, help." Minji looked where her daughter was pointing. She saw nothing but darkness and rain. The storm was too thick. Visibility was almost zero. "There's no one there, sweetie. It's just the storm." But Seo-yun kept pointing. Her finger did not waver. Her eyes were locked on something in the darkness. She made the urgent sound again, the one she used when she really needed Minji to understand. "Man." "There." Minji squinted into the rain. At first she saw nothing. Just sheets of water and darkness. But then maybe... Was that something moving, a shadow? A shape her heart began to beat faster. Was someone really out there? Minji kept staring into the darkness. The rain made everything hard to see, but then slowly a shape began to emerge from the storm. A dark figure walking toward them. Someone was actually out there. Her first feeling was not relief. It was fear. Who would be walking around in this terrible storm? What did they want? She pulled Seo-yun's wheelchair closer to her body, putting herself between her daughter and whoever was coming. The figure came closer. Lightning flashed, and for a moment Minji could see more clearly. It was an older man. He wore a worn rain jacket and boots. He carried a large umbrella in one hand and a flashlight in the other. He walked slowly but steadily through the rain. When he was about 10 feet away, he stopped. He held up his free hand, showing he meant no harm. "Are you okay?" he called out. His voice was gentle. He spoke with an accent that Minji recognized. Korean. Like her. We're fine," Minji said automatically. Years of handling everything alone made her say it. The man took a small step closer. The flashlight beam showed his face now. He looked about 70 years old. His face was kind, with deep wrinkles around his eyes. His hair was white and wet from the rain. "You don't look fine," he said softly. "You look cold and scared. And that little one is shivering." Minji wanted to argue, but she was too tired. And he was right. They were not fine at all. The man slowly walked closer. He held the umbrella out toward them, extending it so it covered Seo-yun first, not himself. "My name is James Kim," he said. "I live 2 streets over. I was checking my mailbox when I heard sounds. Took me a while to find where they were coming from in all this rain." He knelt down, bringing himself to Seo-yun's eye level. His whole focus went to her, not to Minji. Something about that felt right. Good people always saw the child first. "Hello there," he said gently to Seo-yun. "You must be very cold." "That's not good. Let's fix that, okay?" Seo-yun stared at him. She was usually shy around strangers, but something in the old man's voice seemed to calm her. James Kim reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a silver thermos. He unscrewed the cap carefully and steam rose from inside. "I always carry tea," he said, still talking to Seo-yun. "My wife used to make fun of me for it. But I told her, you never know when someone might need something warm." His voice got quieter at the mention of his wife. Sad. She was right about most things, but not about this. He poured a small amount of tea into the thermos cap. He blew on it gently to cool it down, then offered it to Seo-yun. "Careful. Still a bit hot." Small sips. Minji started to reach for it to check it first, but James seemed to expect that. He pulled out his wallet from his jacket with his other hand, flipped it open and showed her his driver's license. All without being asked. "I know you don't know me," he said, looking up at Minji now. "You're a mother protecting her child." "That's good." "That's right. Here's my information. You can take a picture if you want. Call someone if you need to. I'm just trying to help." Something about his understanding of her fear made Minji trust him a little. Most people got offended when she was cautious. He seemed to expect it, respect it even. Seo-yun took a small sip of the tea. Warmth spread through her and she made a happy sound. She took another sip. "Good," James said, smiling. "Good girl." He stood up and looked at Minji, really looked at her. Not with pity, not with judgment. "Just seeing her. Your car broke down?" he asked. "Yes, 3 blocks from home. My phone died. And then the storm." Minji's voice broke a little. "I tried to get help." Cars kept passing. No one stopped. James nodded slowly. People don't like to get involved anymore. They see someone in trouble, and they tell themselves someone else will help. Everyone thinks someone else will stop. He looked sad. "I used to be the same way. Until I learned better." He handed the umbrella to Minji. "Here, hold this over her. Keep her as dry as you can." Then he moved behind the wheelchair. He tested the wheels, pushing gently, checking how they moved. "This wheel is sticking," he said. "I can see why you were having trouble. But I can manage it. I used to—" He stopped himself. "I know about these wheelchairs." "You do?" Minji asked. "My granddaughter. She had one very similar. Different color, but the same model." He spoke quietly. "She passed away 2 years ago. Her condition got worse and her little body just couldn't fight anymore." "I'm so sorry," Minji said. James nodded. "Me too, every day." He looked at Seo-yun with such gentleness. She would be about the same age as this one. "What's her name?" "Seo-yun. That's beautiful. It means auspicious or graceful, doesn't it?" "Yes." Minji was surprised he knew. Most Americans did not understand Korean names, and you? Minji, beautiful pearl, James said, translating her name. Nice to meet you, Minji and Seo-yun. Now let's get you both home before this storm gets any worse. He began pushing the wheelchair. His movements were confident. He knew exactly how to angle it to avoid the stuck wheel. He knew how to navigate the flooded sidewalk. He moved like someone who had done this 1,000 times before. Minji walked beside them, holding the umbrella over Seo-yun. Her own clothes were soaked, but at least her daughter was getting some shelter now. Thank you, Minji said. Thank you so much. No need for thanks. Just doing what anyone should do. But no one else did. James was quiet for a moment. No, they didn't, and that's a shame. But one person doing the right thing is better than 100 people doing nothing. They passed houses with lights on. Minji saw curtains move as they walked by. People were looking out, watching, but no one came out to help. No one even opened a door to ask if they needed anything. One neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, stood on her covered porch. She watched them walk past. Minji made eye contact with her. Mrs. Patterson looked away quickly and went back inside. Minji felt a familiar burn of shame and anger. These people saw her struggle every day. They never helped. Don't pay attention to them, James said quietly. He had noticed too. Some people are afraid of what they don't understand. Disability scares them. They don't know how to help, so they don't try. That's not an excuse, Minji said. No, it's not. But it's an explanation. People are complicated. Another boom of thunder made Seo-yun whimper. James immediately started humming. It was a soft, gentle tune. Seo-yun seemed to recognize the melody. It was a Korean lullaby, one that Minji's own mother used to sing to her long ago. You know that song? Minji asked. My wife sang it to our daughter. Our daughter sang it to Hana. I sang it when they couldn't. His voice was thick with memory. Funny how songs stay with us. They reached Minji's street. Her small rental house was at the end. James pushed the wheelchair steadily, never complaining about the weight or the rain. He was soaked now, too. His jacket dripped water, but he did not seem to care. When they reached her porch, Minji climbed the steps quickly. She reached for her keys in her purse. Her heart stopped. She searched through her purse frantically. The keys were not there. She checked every pocket, every zipper. They were gone. No, she whispered. I had them. I know I had them. When did you last have them? James asked calmly, at the car. I locked the car. I remember locking it. She tried to think back through the chaos and fear. I must have dropped them. When I was pushing the wheelchair. When that car splashed us, they must have fallen out. She looked back toward where they had come from. Somewhere on that 3-block journey, her keys had fallen. Finding them in this storm would be impossible. Tears filled her eyes. They were so close to being safe, so close to being warm and dry. And now this. Seo-yun must have sensed her mother's distress. She made a worried sound and reached up toward Minji. But she also reached toward James with her other hand, not pulling away from him. Including him, James noticed. His eyes got a little wet, though maybe it was just rain. Okay, he said. Okay, here's what we'll do. My house is just around the corner. 2 minutes away. You both come there, get warm and dry. We'll figure out the key situation once the storm passes. I can't, Minji said automatically. You've already done so much. I can't ask for more. You're not asking. I'm offering. There's a difference. James looked at Seo-yun, who was shivering again. That little girl needs warmth now. Everything else can wait. Minji wanted to refuse. Pride told her to refuse. But Seo-yun made another small sound, and when Minji looked down, her daughter's lips looked blue again. Fear overrode pride. Just until the storm passes, Minji said. Just until the storm passes, James agreed. But something in his tone suggested he knew it might be more than that. He turned the wheelchair around and began pushing again. Minji followed, feeling like she was walking through a strange dream. An hour ago, she had been completely alone. No one would help her, and now this stranger was taking them to his home. James's house was close, like he said. It was a small single-story home with a neat yard. Or what would be a neat yard when it was not flooding. The porch light flickered in the wind but stayed on. As they approached, Minji noticed the house looked a bit sad. The paint was faded. The garden was overgrown. It had that feeling of a place where people used to live but did not anymore. Not really, James fumbled with his keys. His hand shook a little. Minji noticed his fingers looked stiff. Arthritis, maybe. It had probably hurt him to push that heavy wheelchair all this way, but he had never said a word about it. The door opened and they went inside. The house was dark. James turned on lights as they entered. The inside was clean but felt frozen in time. Photos covered every wall. A family, a wife, a daughter, and a little girl in a wheelchair. Hannah, Minji realized. This was his granddaughter. The house smelled like loneliness, like a place where someone lived but did not really have a life anymore, just existence. Minji recognized that smell because her own house sometimes smelled the same way. Sorry for the mess, James said. Though there was no mess. I don't have visitors much. It's a lovely home, Minji said. James smiled sadly. It used to be. Seo-yun was looking around with wide eyes. She pointed at a photo of Hannah. Yes, James said softly. That's Hannah. She was 6 in that picture. She loved to paint. See her smile? Seo-yun nodded. You have a nice smile too, James said. Now let's get you warm. James moved through his house with quiet purpose. He disappeared down a hallway and came back with a stack of blankets. They looked soft and well kept. He wrapped one around Seo-yun immediately, tucking it gently around her small body. There we go, he said. Better? Seo-yun nodded. Her shivering was starting to slow down. James went to the fireplace and began arranging wood. His movements were practiced and steady. Within minutes he had a fire going. The warmth started to spread through the room. Minji felt herself begin to thaw. Now for dry clothes, James said. He looked at Minji. I have some things that might fit you. Sweatpants and a sweater. They were my daughter's. She left them here years ago. I don't want to be any trouble, Minji started to say. It's no trouble. They're just sitting in a drawer. He looked at Seo-yun. And I have something for her too. He left again and came back with clothes in his arms. For Minji, there were gray sweatpants and a navy blue sweater. For Seo-yun, he carried small pink pajamas with little stars on them. They looked like they were made for a child. Minji's throat got tight. Those were Hannah's. Yes, I kept all her things. Couldn't bring myself to give them away. His voice was rough with emotion. Maybe I was keeping them for a reason. Maybe for tonight. He showed them to the bathroom so they could change. It was small but clean. Minji helped Seo-yun out of her wet clothes first. Her daughter's skin was cold to the touch. She dried her gently with a towel James had left for them, then helped her into the warm pajamas. They fit almost perfectly. Like they were meant for Seo-yun. How do you feel, baby? Minji asked. Seo-yun smiled. It was a real smile. The first one since the car had broken down. She touched the soft fabric of the pajamas and made a happy sound. Minji changed quickly into the dry clothes James had provided. The sweater was a little big, but it was warm and soft. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. Her hair was a mess. Her face looked tired, but at least she was not soaking wet anymore. When they came out, James had set up cushions near the fireplace. He had arranged them so Seo-yun could sit comfortably without needing her wheelchair. He understood what she needed without being told. Come sit by the fire, he said. Get warm all the way through. Minji lifted Seo-yun and carried her to the cushions. She settled her daughter down, making sure she was comfortable. Seo-yun leaned against her mother, soaking in the warmth of the fire. James went to the kitchen. Minji could hear him moving around, opening cabinets, turning on the stove. The sounds of someone cooking. It had been so long since anyone had cooked for her. She always did the cooking. Always took care of everything. The smell of soup began to fill the house. Something with vegetables and maybe chicken. Minji's stomach growled. She had not realized how hungry she was until that moment. She looked around the room while James cooked. Every surface had photos. James and a beautiful woman, his wife, their daughter at different ages, and many photos of little Hannah. Hannah as a baby. Hannah laughing. Hannah in her wheelchair painting pictures. Hannah with her arms around James's neck. This house was a museum of love and loss. James came back carrying a tray. On it were 2 bowls of soup, some crackers, and more tea. He set it down carefully on a low table near them. It's just simple soup, he said. Nothing fancy. But it's hot and it will help. He sat down in a chair near them, not too close, giving them space. He watched as Minji helped Seo-yun eat. Her daughter needed help holding the spoon sometimes. Her hands did not always do what she wanted them to do. James did not stare. He did not look uncomfortable. He just watched with a gentle smile like it was the most natural thing in the world. You're very good with her, he said after a while. She's my whole world, Minji said simply. I can see that. She's lucky to have you. Minji felt tears prick her eyes. No one ever said things like that. People usually said things like, that must be so hard, or I don't know how you do it, or worse, they said nothing at all. Thank you, she whispered. They ate in comfortable silence. The soup was delicious, simple but perfect. The warmth spread through Minji's body. Seo-yun ate almost a whole bowl, which was a lot for her. Outside, the storm raged on. Thunder boomed. Rain pounded against the windows. But inside they were safe and warm. Minji felt herself start to relax for the first time in hours. Maybe the first time in months? How long have you lived here? Minji asked. 42 years, James said. Bought it when my daughter was born. My wife and I, we planned to grow old here together. We did for a while. He looked at a photo of his wife. She died 5 years ago. Cancer, fast and cruel. I'm so sorry. Me too. Every single day, he smiled sadly. After she died, my daughter wanted me to move closer to her. She lives in Singapore now. Her husband got a job there. But I couldn't leave. Too many memories here, good and bad. Your granddaughter used to visit? Minji asked gently, every summer. Those were the best months. She would stay here and we would do everything together. I learned all about her therapy, her needs. I built ramps. I modified the bathroom. I made this house work for her. He gestured around, and then she got sick, pneumonia. Her body could not fight it off. She was 8 years old. Seo-yun was listening even though she could not say much. She made a soft sound of sympathy. James looked at her. You're a sweet girl, aren't you? Just like Hana was. She could not talk much either, but she understood everything. Smart as a whip. Seo-yun is the same, Minji said. People think because she can't speak easily, she doesn't understand. But she understands everything. Sometimes I think she understands more than people who talk all the time. Smart people often are quiet, James said. They're too busy thinking to waste time on unnecessary words. Seo-yun smiled at him. She pointed to a photo on the wall. It showed Hana holding a painting. You want to know about her painting? James asked. Seo-yun nodded. James got up and walked to the photo. He took it off the wall and brought it closer so Seo-yun could see it better. She loved to paint. Could not hold the brush the regular way, so we got special brushes that strapped to her hand. She painted flowers mostly, bright colors. Happy pictures, his voice got thick. I have them all stored in a box. Could not bring myself to throw them away or even put them up. Too painful to see them every day. Minji understood that kind of pain. The kind where you love something so much that even the memory of it hurt. Do you have family nearby? James asked, changing the subject gently. My parents live 2 hours away. They don't visit much. Minji tried to keep her voice neutral, but some bitterness leaked through. They're not comfortable with Seo-yun's disability. They think I should put her in some kind of facility. Let professionals take care of her. James frowned. That's their loss. Their granddaughter is wonderful. Thank you. Minji felt the tears coming again. Her father left when she was 2. The diagnosis was too much for him. He said he didn't sign up for this. Then he's a fool. Yes. But a fool who doesn't have to do everything alone. The words came out before Minji could stop them. All the exhaustion, all the fear, all the loneliness of the past years rushed forward. I work 2 jobs. I take her to therapy 3 times a week. I do exercises with her every night. I wake up at 5 and go to bed at midnight. I have no friends because I have no time. I can't remember the last time I did something just for me. She stopped, embarrassed. I'm sorry. You didn't ask for my life story. Don't apologize. Sounds like you needed to say it. James looked at her with understanding. Being alone is hard. Being alone with a child who needs extra care is even harder. And having people drive past you in a storm, that's the hardest of all. Why did you stop? Minji asked. Why did you help us when no one else would? James was quiet for a long moment. He stared into the fire. 3 years ago, I fell in my front yard. Broke my hip. I was out there for almost an hour calling for help. People walked past. Some looked at me. One person asked if I was okay, and when I said I'd fallen, they said they'd call someone and then they just left. No one actually helped until my neighbor, Mr. Rodriguez, came home from work and found me. That's terrible, Minji said. It taught me something, though. It taught me that people are scared of responsibility. They think if they help, they'll get stuck with something. They'll owe something. Or it will take too much time. So they look away and tell themselves it's not their problem. He looked at Minji directly. I promised myself that day that I would never be that person again. I would never walk past someone who needed help. You could have just called someone for us. You didn't have to walk through the storm. True, but would you have waited in that bus stop for an ambulance or police to arrive? Or would you have tried to get home on your own and made things worse? He smiled knowingly. I thought so. You're a fighter. Fighters don't wait for rescue. They try to save themselves, he was right. Minji would have tried again to get home. The power flickered. The lights went out for a second, then came back on. Then went out again. This time they stayed out. The only light now came from the fireplace. Shadows danced on the walls. Outside, the storm seemed to grow even stronger. Wind howled. Something banged against the house, maybe a branch. Seo-yun made a frightened sound and grabbed Minji's arm. It's okay, Minji said. Just the power. The fire will keep us warm. James stood up. Let me get some candles. I have plenty. Had to learn to be prepared after the last big storm. He moved through the dark house like he knew every step by heart. He came back with several candles and set them around the room. The warm candlelight made everything feel softer, safer. There, he said. Better than electric lights anyway. More peaceful, he was right. There was something calming about the candlelight and the fireplace. The storm outside felt far away now. Seo-yun yawned. It had been a long, scary day for her. Her eyes were getting heavy. She needs sleep, Minji said, of course. Come with me. James led them down the hallway. He opened a door to a small bedroom. It had a child-sized bed with a pink comforter. The walls were painted pale yellow. There were stuffed animals on a shelf. A small lamp in the shape of a star sat on the nightstand. This was Hana's room, James said quietly. I haven't changed anything. Couldn't bring myself to do it. The room was like a time capsule, frozen in the moment when a little girl had last slept there. I can't, Minji said. It's too much. We can sleep on the couch. Please, James said. His voice was thick with emotion. Please let her sleep here. This room has been empty for 2 years. It needs a child in it again, even if just for one night. Minji looked at the bed, then at Seo-yun, who was staring at the stuffed animals with wonder. Just for tonight, Minji said softly. Just for tonight, James agreed. Minji carried Seo-yun to the bed and tucked her in. Her daughter snuggled into the soft blankets with a contented sigh. Within minutes, she was asleep. Minji stood there watching her daughter breathe. So peaceful, so safe. Thank you, she whispered to James. No, he said. Thank you. You gave this room purpose again, even if just for tonight. They left the door open a crack and walked back to the living room. Minji sat down near the fire again. James sat in his chair. The candles flickered. The storm raged on outside. I should tell you, James said after a while, the neighborhood has not been friendly to me since I spoke up about needing help that day I fell. Some people got offended that I called them out. Mrs. Patterson especially. She thinks I make everyone look bad. Is that why no one came out tonight? Minji asked. Probably part of it. The other part is what I said before. People are scared of disability, scared of responsibility, scared of getting involved. I know that feeling, Minji said. I see it every day. They sat in silence, watching the fire burn. Outside, thunder rolled like a distant drum. This storm, James said softly, it brought you to my door. Maybe that's something. Maybe, Minji said. But she wondered if it was more than just maybe. She wondered if sometimes the worst storms brought exactly what you needed. Not what you wanted, but what you needed. Seo-yun had pointed into the darkness. She had seen James before Minji could, like she knew help was coming. Like she had faith when her mother had none left. Maybe that was what children did. They believed in help when adults had learned to stop believing. The fire crackled. The candles burned. And for the first time in a very long time, Minji felt like maybe they were not completely alone in the world. Morning light came slowly through the windows. Minji woke up confused for a moment. She was on a couch that was not hers, under a blanket that smelled like lavender. Then she remembered. The storm. The broken car. James Kim. She sat up quickly, her heart beating fast. Where was Seo-yun? Then she heard voices from the kitchen. One was James's deep, gentle voice. The other was her daughter's unique sounds, the way she communicated when words were hard. And there was laughter. Seo-yun was laughing. Minji walked to the kitchen doorway and stopped. The sight before her made her chest feel tight. James stood at the stove making pancakes. Seo Yoon sat at the kitchen table in her wheelchair. But she was not just sitting there. She had a photo album in front of her, and James had clearly been showing her pictures. On the table were special plates, the kind with sections to keep different foods separate. The same kind Minji used at home for Seo Yoon. And this one, James was saying, pointing at a photo, this is Hana at the beach. She hated the feeling of sand, but she loved the water. So we brought a big blanket and set it right at the edge where the waves came up. Seo Yoon made an excited sound and pointed at the picture. You like the water too? James asked. I thought you might. Hana said the water made her feel free, like her body worked better in the pool. Good morning, Minji said softly. James turned and smiled. Good morning. I hope we didn't wake you. Your daughter is an early riser. She always has been, since she was a baby. Minji walked over and kissed Seo Yoon's head. Did you sleep well, sweetie? Seo Yoon nodded enthusiastically. She pointed at the bedroom and made happy sounds. She said the bed was very comfortable. Minji translated, though James seemed to understand already. I'm glad. Hana always said it was like sleeping on a cloud. James flipped a pancake expertly. I made breakfast. Pancakes, bacon, and fruit. I wasn't sure what Seo Yoon could eat, so I made things that are easy to chew. He had thought of that. Most people did not think of that. They served food that Seo Yoon could not manage, and then everyone felt awkward. That's perfect. Thank you. Minji's phone was sitting on the counter, plugged into a charger. James must have done that while she slept. I hope you don't mind, he said. I found the charger in your purse. Thought you might need your phone. She picked it up. It was fully charged. She had 15 missed calls, most from the hospital where she worked. 3 from the convenience store, 2 from Seo Yoon's therapist. Her stomach dropped. Work. She had completely forgotten about work. She was supposed to be at the hospital at 7. It was now 8:30. Oh no, she whispered. I need to call them. I need to explain. The storm was bad last night, James said calmly. I'm sure they'll understand. Minji was not so sure, but she stepped into the living room and called her supervisor at the hospital. Mrs. Chen answered on the second ring. Minji. Are you okay? We were worried. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Chen. My car broke down during the storm. I got stranded with Seo Yoon. We had to take shelter. I should have called, but my phone died and... Slow down, Mrs. Chen said kindly. Are you and Seo Yoon safe? Yes, someone helped us. We're okay. That's all that matters. The storm was terrible last night. Several people couldn't make it in. We managed fine. Don't worry about it. Really? Minji could hardly believe it. She expected to be in trouble. Really, take the day to deal with your car and make sure your daughter is okay. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you so much. She hung up, feeling a rush of relief. One problem down. But she still had her car situation. And her missing keys. And she needed to call the convenience store to explain why she would not be there for her evening shift. She made that call too. The manager was less understanding, but when Minji mentioned her car had broken down with her disabled daughter in a storm, his tone softened a little. He said he would find someone to cover her shift. When she went back to the kitchen, James had already served breakfast. Seo Yoon was eating small bites of pancake, syrup on her face, looking happier than Minji had seen her in a long time. Everything okay? James asked. Better than I expected. They were understanding about the storm. Good, sit, eat, you need your strength. The food was delicious, simple but made with care. Minji realized she could not remember the last time someone had cooked for her. She was always the one cooking, always the one taking care of everyone else. I need to figure out my car, she said between bites, and find my keys somehow. I have a friend who's a mechanic. Good man, fair prices. I already called him this morning. He's going to tow your car to his shop and take a look. Won't charge you for the tow. Minji stared at him. You didn't have to do that. I know, but I did anyway. He smiled. As for the keys, we can walk back later and look. Or I can call a locksmith I know. He owes me a favor. I can't let you pay for a locksmith. You're not letting me do anything. I'm choosing to help. James looked at her seriously. Minji, I'm an old man with more money than I need and nothing to spend it on. Let me help. It makes me feel useful. Before Minji could respond, there was a knock at the door. James got up to answer it. Minji heard voices, and then James came back with a man she recognized. Mr. Rodriguez from down the street. I saw you walking in the storm last night, Mr. Rodriguez said, looking uncomfortable. I wanted to come out and help, but I didn't. I'm ashamed of that. I came to apologize. It's okay, Minji said, though it was not really okay. No, it's not. James helped you when the rest of us did nothing. That says something about him and something about us. He held out a small bag. I brought some fresh bread from the bakery, and I wanted to say if you need anything, I'm here to help now. Better late than never, right? Thank you, Minji said, taking the bread. After Mr. Rodriguez left, James shook his head. People feel guilty when they see kindness. It reminds them of their own failures. They finished breakfast, and James suggested they walk to Minji's house to look for her keys. The storm had passed. The morning was bright and clean, the way it always is after a big storm. Everything looked washed and new. James pushed Seo-Yoon's wheelchair. They walked the 3 blocks slowly, looking along the sidewalk for any sign of the keys. Branches and leaves covered everything. Small puddles remained in low spots. Other neighbors were outside cleaning up. Some waved. Some just stared. Minji felt their eyes on her. She was used to that feeling. Being watched. Being judged. Mrs. Patterson was standing in her yard picking up branches. When she saw them, she turned her back and went into her house. Friendly, Minji muttered. She's scared, James said. Of what? Me? Of being reminded that bad things happen. That people need help. That ignoring problems doesn't make them go away. James pointed ahead. Look, by that bush. Something shiny, Minji ran forward. There, caught in the branches of a small bush, were her keys. She grabbed them with relief. Found them! They went to Minji's house. It was small, much smaller than James's house. The paint was peeling. The yard needed work. Inside it was neat but sparse. Minji did not have much. A couch she had bought used. A small television. Seo-Yoon's wheelchair equipment took up most of the space. Toys were organized in bins. The walls had Seo-Yoon's drawings taped everywhere. James looked around, but not in a judging way. He looked at it like he was seeing a home. You've made it nice, he said. It's all we can afford. A home isn't about what you have. It's about the love in it. He walked over to the drawings on the wall. These are wonderful. Seo-Yoon is talented. Seo-Yoon beamed at the compliment. James started noticing things. The window that did not close all the way. The railing on the porch that wobbled. The heater that made a strange noise when it ran. These things need fixing, he said. I know. I just haven't had time or money for repairs. What if I fix them? I already owe you too much, James turned to her. You don't owe me anything. But I need something from you. I need dinners. I need company. This old house of mine is too quiet, too empty. What if we made a trade? I fix things around here, and you and Seo-Yoon come to my house for dinner 3 times a week. We eat together, we talk. That's the payment. Minji's eyes filled with tears. That's not even close to fair. You'd be giving us much more. You'd be giving me something I can't buy. You'd be giving me family even if it's borrowed. His voice was rough. Please, let me help. Let me be useful. Seo-Yoon reached out and grabbed James's hand. She looked at her mother and made an urgent sound. The sound she made when she really wanted something. She wants to say yes, Minji whispered. What do you want? James asked Minji gently. Minji looked around her small house. At all the things that needed fixing. At her daughter who was holding this kind man's hand. At the possibility of not being alone all the time. I want to say yes, she admitted, but I'm scared. Of what? Of depending on someone. Of getting used to help and then losing it. Of my daughter getting attached and then being hurt. James nodded slowly. Those are all good fears. Real fears. I can't promise I'll never leave or never die. I'm 70 years old. Death is not that far away. But I can promise that while I'm here, I'll help. And if something happens to me, my daughter will make sure you're taken care of. I'll put it in writing if you want. I don't need it in writing. Then what do you need? Minji thought about the storm. About being stranded and alone. About cars driving past. About Seo-Yoon pointing into the darkness and seeing help before Minji could. I need to learn to accept help, she said quietly. I need to learn that accepting help doesn't make me weak. Then start now, James said. Say yes. Minji took a deep breath. Yes. Seo-Yoon made a happy sound and clapped her hands together. James smiled and it was like the sun coming out. Good. Then I'll start tomorrow with that railing. Can't have you falling through it. They talked about what needed to be fixed.
James made a list.
He asked about Seo-Yun's therapy schedule, so he would not interfere. He asked what kind of food Seo-Yun liked. He asked what time worked best for dinners, he asked. He did not assume. He did not take over. He respected that Minji was Seo-Yun's mother and made the decisions. That afternoon, James's mechanic friend called. The car needed work, but it was not as bad as it could have been. The cost would be about $600. James immediately offered to pay, but Minji refused. That was too much. She would save up for it. She would figure it out, but James had already figured out something else. He offered to drive Seo-Yun to therapy sessions when Minji was at work. He had the time. He knew how to handle the wheelchair. And honestly, he said, he missed having purpose in his days. Minji wanted to refuse that too, but looking at Seo-Yun's excited face, looking at the practical truth that she needed help, she said yes again. As evening came, James went home. Minji and Seo-Yun were alone again, but it felt different now. The house did not feel as empty. The future did not feel as hard. That night, as Minji put Seo-Yun to bed, her daughter surprised her. She spoke one of her rare, clear sentences. He's good, Mama. Yes, baby. He is good. Like Grandpa. Minji's breath caught. Seo-Yun had never known a grandpa. Her father's parents had passed away before she was born. Minji's father barely acknowledged her existence. Would you like him to be like a grandpa? Minji asked. Seo-Yun nodded firmly. Halabeoji, grandfather in Korean. Such a simple word, but it carried so much meaning. Okay, Minji said. Halabeoji it is. As she left Seo-Yun's room, Minji thought about storms, about how they come suddenly and violently, about how they scatter everything and make you feel small and helpless. But they also wash things clean. They clear the air. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, they bring exactly what you need right when you need it most. She thought about James walking through the storm because he heard someone in trouble. She thought about his loneliness and her loneliness meeting in the middle of that terrible night. She thought about Seo-Yun pointing into the darkness with absolute certainty that help was coming. Maybe that was faith, believing in help even when you could not see it yet. Maybe that was what she needed to learn. Not just how to accept help, but how to believe it was coming in the first place. Outside, the stars were bright in the clear night sky. The storm was over, but something new was just beginning. 3 weeks passed like a gentle dream. James came over every Saturday morning with his toolbox. He fixed the porch railing first, then the leaking window. He adjusted the old heater so it stopped making that terrible noise. He installed a grab bar in the bathroom to help Seo-Yun. He never made a big deal about any of it. He just showed up and worked, and 3 times a week Minji and Seo-Yun went to his house for dinner. Those evenings became the best part of their week. James cooked Korean food, dishes he had learned from his wife. Bulgogi and kimchi fried rice and soft tofu stew. Seo-Yun tried everything and loved most of it. After dinner, James would show Seo-Yun his tools. He taught her the names of them. He let her hold the ones that were safe. He showed her how to measure things with a tape measure. Seo-Yun loved it. Her eyes would light up with curiosity and joy. She has an engineering mind, James said one evening. Just like Hana did. They see how things fit together. Minji watched them and felt something she had not felt in years, peace, safety, like maybe the world was not as cruel as she had thought. But not everyone was happy about their new arrangement. Mrs. Patterson made comments. Loud comments when Minji walked past. Some people take advantage of lonely old men, she said to her friend Mrs. Wilson, making sure Minji could hear. It's sad, really. Preying on someone's grief. Other neighbors whispered too. Young mothers pulled their children inside when they saw Seo-Yun's wheelchair. Mr. Brennan from across the street told James he was making a mistake getting involved with that situation. James ignored them all, but Minji felt every word like a knife. She had lived with judgment for years, but it hurt more now. Before she had been alone and expected nothing. Now she had something good, and people wanted to take it away. One evening when they were at James's house, he was teaching Seo-Yun how to hammer a nail into a piece of wood, very gently holding her hand to guide her. Seo-Yun's face was bright with concentration and joy. The doorbell rang. James went to answer it. Minji heard a woman's voice speaking quickly in English with a slight accent. Then the voices got louder. Dad, I need to talk to you alone. Yoonji? What are you doing here? I thought you weren't coming until Christmas. I came early because Mr. Brennan called me. He said you were being taken advantage of, that some woman with a disabled kid was using you. James's voice got hard. Mr. Brennan needs to mind his own business. Dad, I'm worried about you. You're lonely. I get that. But you can't just let strangers into your life. What do you even know about this woman? I know she's a good mother. I know she works 2 jobs. I know she was stranded in a storm and no one helped her but me. I know she reminds me that there's still good in this world. Or she's playing on your emotions. Dad, she could be after your money. Minji felt sick. She had worried people would think this, but hearing it said out loud made it real. Come meet her, James said. Come see for yourself. Footsteps approached the kitchen. Minji stood up quickly, her body tense. A woman in her 40s walked in. She was dressed in expensive clothes and had her hair in a perfect style. She looked successful and confident. She looked like someone who always got what she wanted. This was Yoonji, James's daughter. Hello, Yoonji said. Her voice was cold. Her eyes swept over Minji, judging everything in seconds. Then she looked at Seo-yoon. Her expression hardened even more. Hi, Minji said quietly. I'm Minji. This is my daughter, Seo-yoon. I've heard about you. Yoonji's tone made it clear she had not heard good things. Seo-yoon sensed the tension. She made a worried sound and reached for Minji. We should go, Minji said quickly. You need time with your daughter, James. No, James said firmly. You just got here. We haven't had dinner yet. Dad, I need to talk to you, Yoonji said. Then talk. But Minji and Seo-yoon are staying. The tension in the room was thick. Minji wanted to disappear. She wanted to grab Seo-yoon and run away and never come back. But Seo-yoon was holding James's hand, and her daughter looked confused and scared by the angry voices. Fine, Yoonji said. Let's all sit down. They moved to the living room. Minji sat on the couch with Seo-yoon. James sat in his usual chair. Yoonji remained standing like a lawyer about to make a case. How did you meet my father? Yoonji asked. During the storm, Minji said. My car broke down. We were stranded. Your father helped us. And then? Then he's been helping fix things around my house. And we come here for dinner sometimes. What do you pay him? Company, James said before Minji could answer. She pays me in company, something I haven't had in years. That's not a real payment, Dad. It's the only payment I want. James's voice was firm. Yoonji, I love you. But you don't get to tell me how to live my life. You live in Singapore. You visit twice a year. You have your own family. I'm alone here. These dinners, these evenings with Minji and Seo-yoon, they've given me something to wake up for. Yoonji's eyes got wet. I know you're lonely, but you can't replace Hana with someone else's child. The room went silent. Seo-yoon made a small hurt sound. She understood more than people thought. Minji felt anger rise in her chest. I would never try to replace Hana, Minji said, her voice shaking. And Seo-yoon is not a replacement for anyone. She's her own person. Your father has been kind to us. That's all. If you think I'm after his money, you're wrong. I've refused every time he's tried to give me money. I pay for everything myself. Is that true, Dad? Yoonji asked. Yes, she won't even let me pay for her car repairs. She's saving up for them herself. James looked at his daughter. Minji is proud. Maybe too proud. But she's not using me. If anything, I'm the one who needed this more. Yoonji sat down slowly. She looked at her father, really looked at him. You do seem happier, she admitted. On the phone lately, you've sounded more like yourself. Because I have a reason to get up in the morning. I have dinners to cook. I have projects to plan. I have this little one who wants to learn about tools. James smiled at Seo-yoon. I forgot what it felt like to be needed. Yoonji turned her attention to Seo-yoon. She studied the little girl carefully. Seo-yoon stared back, not afraid, just curious. She looks like Hana, Yoonji said quietly. Same size. Same chair. Same way of looking at people. I know, James said. But she's not Hana, she's Seo-yoon. And that's okay. Something in Yoonji's face changed. The hardness softened a little. She moved closer to Seo-yoon and knelt down. Hello, Seo-yoon. I'm Yoonji. I'm James's daughter. Seo-yoon studied her for a moment, then pointed at James. Halabeoji, she said clearly. Yes, Yoonji said, her voice catching. That's my dad. You're Halabeoji. She looked up at Minji. She calls him grandfather. It just happened naturally, Minji said. She's never had one before. And he He fills that space. Yoonji sat back on her heels. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm sorry, she said. I came here ready to protect my father. I thought you were taking advantage of him. But I see now. You gave him something I couldn't give him. You gave him purpose again. Your father gave us more, Minji said. He saved us. Not just that night in the storm, but in so many ways since then. They talked for a long time. Yoonji asked questions, but they were gentler now. She wanted to understand. She asked about Seo-yoon's condition, her therapy, her needs. She asked about Minji's work and her struggles. She listened. By the time dinner was ready, the tension had melted away. They ate together. Eunji watched her father with Seo-yoon and smiled. She saw the joy on his face, the light in his eyes that had been gone for so long. After dinner, Yoonji pulled Minji aside while James was showing Seo-yoon a photo album. Thank you, Yoonji said simply. I haven't seen him this happy since before Mom died. Before Hana died. I was wrong about you. I'm sorry. You were protecting your father. I understand that. I should have trusted him. He's a good judge of character. Eunji paused. Can I ask you something? Do you need financial help? I know things must be hard with 2 jobs and medical expenses. I manage, Minji said automatically. That's what my father said you'd say. Yoonji smiled. You're very proud. But pride doesn't pay for therapy. Let me help with Seo-yoon's medical costs. Not as charity, as family helping family. We're not family, Minji said quietly, aren't you? My father calls Seo-yoon his granddaughter. She calls him Halabeoji. You share dinners 3 times a week. That sounds like family to me. Minji did not know what to say. She had been alone for so long that the idea of family felt foreign. Dangerous, like something that could be taken away. Think about it, Yoonji said. My father won't be around forever. None of us will. But while we're here, we should help each other. That's what Mom would have wanted. That's what Hana would have wanted. The visit stretched into the weekend. Yoonji saw how James and Seo-yoon interacted. She saw the gentle way he taught her, the patience he had, the joy they brought each other. She saw her father come alive again. Before she left to go back to Singapore, Yoonji hugged Minji. Take care of him, she said. He's stubborn. He won't admit when he needs help. But he needs you and Seo-yoon. You make him remember how to live. He saved us first, Minji said. Maybe you saved each other. After Yoonji left, life continued. But things felt more secure now. James kept fixing things around Minji's house. The dinners continued. Seo-yoon's therapy started showing results. Her physical therapist commented on how much happier she seemed. Happy children tried harder, made more progress. But then one day Minji got a letter, a notice from her landlord. The rent was going up by 30%. Starting next month. She read the letter 3 times, hoping she was wrong. But the numbers did not change. With the increase, she could not afford the house anymore, not even with 2 jobs. She cried that night after Seo-yoon was asleep. Silent tears into her pillow. Just when things were getting better, just when she felt safe, the ground was dropping out from under her again. She tried to find another place. But everything in her price range was in bad neighborhoods. Buildings with mold and broken stairs. Places where Seo-yoon's wheelchair could not go. Places that were not safe. She tried to hide her stress. She did not want to burden James. He had done enough. This was her problem to solve, but Seo-yoon noticed. Children always noticed. She became clingy and anxious. During dinner at James's house, she would not let go of Minji's hand. What's wrong? James asked one evening. Something's bothering both of you. Nothing. We're fine, Minji. James's voice was gentle but firm. I can see you're not fine. Talk to me. She tried to hold it together, but the words came spilling out. The rent increase, the impossible search for a new place, the fear of what would happen to them, where they would go. I'm going to lose everything, she said, her voice breaking. Right when things were getting better. Right when Seo-yoon was getting happier. I'm going to have to move us somewhere far away. Somewhere cheap. And we'll lose all of this. We'll lose you. Seo-yoon started crying, upset by her mother's distress. James came over and sat beside them on the couch. He did not try to fix it immediately. He just sat there solid and present. You're not going to lose me, he said quietly. I've been thinking about something for a while now. I just wasn't sure how to bring it up without scaring you. What do you mean? This house is too big for one person. It always has been. I've been thinking about converting it into a duplex. 2 separate living spaces. I'd live in one side. You and Seo Yun could live in the other. Separate entrances. Your own space. But we'd share the backyard. Minji stared at him. I can't afford to rent from you. Not if you're charging fair market value. I'm not talking about fair market value. I'm talking about what's fair for all of us. You'd pay what you can afford.
I'd have rental income to help with my expenses.
And I'd have family nearby. That's too much. I can't accept that. Why not? You've been accepting dinners. You've been accepting help with Seo Yun's transportation. Why is this different? Because it's huge. Because it changes everything. Because what if something happens and you change your mind? Then you'd have a lease. Legal protection. I've already talked to my lawyer about it. This isn't some whim. I've been planning this for weeks. Minji felt dizzy. Why would you do this? Because I'm 70 years old and I don't want to spend my remaining years alone. Because this house has been silent for too long. Because Seo Yun needs a stable home and you need help. Because we're family now, whether you want to admit it or not. Family. That word again. It terrified her and thrilled her at the same time. I need to think about it, she said. Of course. Take your time. But Minji, I need you to understand something. This isn't charity. This is me being selfish. I want you nearby. I want to have dinner with Seo Yun every night if I want. I want to wake up knowing there's life in this house again. You'd be helping me as much as I'd be helping you. That night, Minji lay awake thinking, could she accept this? Could she let herself depend on someone this much? What if James died? What if he got sick? What if Yoonji changed her mind and decided Minji was bad for her father? But then she thought about Seo Yun, about giving her daughter stability, a safe home, a grandfather figure, a backyard to play in. She thought about James, about his loneliness, about how much happier he had become, about how good he was with Seo Yun. She thought about herself, about being tired all the time, about never having help, about always being one crisis away from disaster. Maybe accepting help was not weakness. Maybe it was wisdom. Maybe it was what love looked like. Messy and complicated and a little scary but real. In the morning she called James. Yes, she said. Let's do it. She heard him take a shaky breath on the other end. Really? Really? For Seo Yun, for you, for all of us. Thank you, he said, his voice rough with emotion. Thank you for trusting me. But before the papers could be signed, before the house could be converted, something terrible happened. The neighborhood meeting was supposed to be about street repairs. At least that was what the notice said. But Minji knew better when she saw Mrs. Patterson's face. This was about her and James. James insisted they go together. We have nothing to hide, he said. Let them say what they want to say to our faces. They walked to the community center with Seo Yun in her wheelchair. The sun was setting. The air felt heavy, like another storm was coming. Inside, about 30 neighbors were gathered. Most of them Minji recognized from seeing them around the neighborhood. None of them had ever helped her. Not once. Mrs. Patterson stood at the front of the room like she was in charge. Her friend Mrs. Wilson stood beside her. A few other older neighbors looked uncomfortable but stayed silent. Thank you all for coming, Mrs. Patterson began. We need to discuss a matter affecting our neighborhood's quality and property values. James stood up. If this is about my house, say it directly. Mrs. Patterson's face got red. Fine, yes. It's about your plan to turn your single-family home into a duplex rental. It's inappropriate. It will lower all our property values. That's not what this is really about, James said calmly. This is about Minji and Seo Yun. You don't want them living near you. That's not true, Mrs. Patterson said, but her voice was not convincing. Then what's the problem? James asked. The duplex conversion is legal. I checked with the city. All the permits are approved. It's about the kind of people it brings into the neighborhood, Mr. Brennan said from the back. No offense to you, miss, but having rental properties changes the character of a neighborhood. I'm not rental property, Minji said quietly. I'm a person. So is my daughter. No one said you weren't, Mrs. Wilson said quickly. But you have to understand our concerns. Your daughter's condition, her wheelchair, the medical equipment, it makes people uncomfortable. The words hung in the air like poison. Minji felt Seo Yun tense in her wheelchair. Her daughter understood. She always understood. Uncomfortable, James repeated, his voice cold. A child makes you uncomfortable. That's not what I meant, Mrs. Wilson backtracked. That's exactly what you meant, James said. You're uncomfortable with disability. You're uncomfortable with anyone who doesn't look like you or live like you. You're uncomfortable with your own lack of compassion. Now see here, Mr. Brennan stood up. We have a right to protect our neighborhood. From what? From a good mother trying to raise her daughter? From a little girl who wants to play in a backyard? What exactly are you protecting yourselves from? It's not about the child, Mrs. Patterson said. It's about property values. About maintaining standards. No, a voice said from the doorway. Everyone turned. Mr. Rodriguez stood there with his wife. It's about fear, and it's wrong. He walked into the room and stood beside James. I'm ashamed I didn't help the night of the storm. I watched Minji struggling in the rain with her daughter and I did nothing. James did what we all should have done, he helped. And now you want to punish him for it? No one's punishing anyone, Mrs. Patterson said weakly. That's exactly what you're doing. And I'm voting against it. James can do whatever he wants with his property. Me too, said a younger woman Minji did not know. I just moved here last year. I have a son with autism. If this is how you treat families with special needs children, I need to know now. This isn't about special needs, Mrs. Patterson insisted, but her voice was desperate now. Yes, it is, James said. It always was. You're just too afraid to say it out loud. Seo-yun made a sound then, not her usual sounds. A stressed sound. Her body started to tense. Minji recognized the signs immediately. No, baby, stay with me, she said quickly, kneeling beside the wheelchair. But it was too late. The stress, the angry voices, the tension in the room, it was all too much. Seo-yun's body went rigid. Her eyes rolled back. She was having a seizure. The room erupted in panic. People stood up. Some screamed. Someone called 911. But Minji moved with practiced efficiency. She tilted the wheelchair back gently, turned Seo-yun's head to the side, checked her watch to time it. James was right there beside her, calm and focused. Blanket, he said. Someone get a blanket or cushion. Mr. Rodriguez ran to get one from a storage closet. James took it and placed it carefully so Seo-yun would not hurt herself if she moved. How long? James asked quietly. 40 seconds so far, Minji said, her voice shaking. The seizure lasted another 20 seconds. Then Seo-yun's body slowly relaxed. She did not wake up right away. She never did. The post-seizure phase always left her confused and sleepy. The ambulance arrived. Paramedics came in with equipment. But Seo-yun was already breathing normally, already starting to come back. Does she need to go to the hospital? One paramedic asked. Only if it lasts longer than 5 minutes or if she has another one right after, Minji said. She had said these words many times before. This is normal for her. Stress-induced. The paramedic looked around the room at all the staring faces. What stressed her? Minji did not answer. She did not need to. The answer was obvious. Mrs. Patterson was crying. Soft tears running down her face. She looked at Seo-yun with something like horror and guilt. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, no one said anything. The meeting was over. People started to leave quietly. Shamefully. They could not meet Minji's eyes. Mr. Rodriguez helped James carry Seo-yun to his car. They drove to Minji's house in silence. Seo-yun slept the whole way, exhausted from the seizure. James carried her inside and laid her gently on her bed. Minji sat beside her daughter, holding her hand, crying quietly. This is why I said no at first, she said to James. This is why accepting help is dangerous. Look what happened. Look what they did to her. This isn't your fault, James said firmly. This is their shame, not yours. But she had a seizure. Because of me. Because I thought we could have something good. She had a seizure because people are cruel. But Minji, those same people saw what happened. They saw how you handled it. They saw how I helped. They saw Mr. Rodriguez stand up for you. Things are going to change now. I don't want things to change. I just want her to be safe. She will be. I promise you. We'll make sure of it. Minji wanted to believe him. But belief was hard when your daughter was lying unconscious because people thought she did not belong. The next morning, there was a knock on the door. Minji answered it carefully. Mrs. Patterson stood there. Her eyes were red from crying. She held a bouquet of flowers. I know you probably don't want to see me, Mrs. Patterson said, but I need to apologize. To you and to Seo-yun. Why? Minji asked coldly. Why apologize now? Because I saw your daughter have a seizure and I realized I caused it. My words, my fear, my stupidity. I hurt a child. She took a shaky breath. I need to tell you something. I had a son. He had Down syndrome. 20 years ago, our old neighborhood made our lives hell. People complained about him. Said he brought down property values. Said he made people uncomfortable. My husband couldn't take the pressure. He left us. The stress was too much and my son got sick. He died when he was 12. Minji's anger wavered. I'm sorry for your loss. After he died, I moved here. I wanted a fresh start, a place where no one knew about my pain, and I promised myself I would never deal with disability again. It hurt too much. Tears rolled down her cheeks. But instead of healing, I became the person who hurt me. I became the monster from my old neighborhood, and I hate myself for it. What do you want from me? Minji asked. Nothing. I just wanted you to know that I was wrong, that I'm sorry, and that if you still move into James's house, I'll support it. I'll make sure everyone else does too. She left the flowers and walked away. Minji stood there holding them, not sure what to feel. Over the next few days, other neighbors came by. Some apologized. Some just brought small gifts. Mr. Rodriguez organized a group to help with the house conversion. People who had ignored Minji for years suddenly wanted to help. It should have felt good. But Minji felt angry. Why did Seo-yun have to suffer before people cared? Why did her daughter have to have a seizure in front of everyone before they saw her as human? People are complicated, James said when she expressed this. They're scared and selfish until something makes them see clearly. What happened was terrible, but it changed things. It shouldn't take a crisis for people to be decent. No, it shouldn't, but sometimes that's what it takes. We live in a broken world. We do the best we can. The house conversion began. Neighbors helped. Mrs. Patterson organized meals for the workers. Mr. Rodriguez supervised the construction. The younger woman with the autistic son helped design the space to be accessible for Seo-yun. 2 months later, Minji and Seo-yun moved into their side of the duplex. It was more space than they had ever had. A real bedroom for Seo-yun with a ceiling painted like the night sky. A kitchen big enough to cook in properly. A bathroom modified for wheelchair access. And outside a shared backyard where Seo-yun could play safely. Where James had already started building raised garden beds that Seo-yun could reach from her wheelchair. On their first night in the new home, the three of them had dinner together. James had cooked a feast. They ate and laughed and felt like family. After dinner, James brought out a small wrapped box. He gave it to Seo-yun. This was Hana's, he said softly. I want you to have it. Seo-yun opened it carefully. Inside was a small silver bracelet. Simple but beautiful. Her grandmother gave her that, my wife. She said it would protect her. James's voice was thick with emotion. I think she'd want you to have it. Seo-yun held up her wrist. James fastened the bracelet gently. She stared at it in wonder, then looked up at James with pure love. Halabeoji, she said clearly. Then with great effort she added, Sarangae. I love you, James's face crumbled. He pulled her into a gentle hug, crying openly. Sarangae Seo-yuna, you and your mother saved me. Minji watched them and felt her own tears flow. But they were good tears this time. Healing tears. 1 year passed. It was another stormy night. Rain pounded against the windows. Thunder rolled across the sky. But inside they were warm and safe. Minji worked at the kitchen table, writing in a journal. Seo-yun and James were in the shared living space between their two homes. He was teaching her woodworking. She had gotten good at it. Good enough that they were making a birdhouse together. Her hands still shook sometimes, but James had modified tools to help her. Minji had been able to quit her second job. James's reasonable rent made that possible. She now spent evenings with Seo-yun instead of working. Her daughter had made so much progress. Not just physically, but emotionally. She was confident now. Happy. She smiled all the time. The neighborhood had changed too. After seeing how James cared for them, other families felt safe to move in. 2 families with disabled children had bought houses on their street. Mrs. Patterson now organized a support group for parents of special needs kids. She was trying to make up for her past mistakes. Seo-yun finished hammering a nail and looked up at James with pride. He gave her a high five. Then she pointed to the window where rain poured down. Storm, she said. Her speech had improved so much over the year. Yes, James said. Another storm. But we're safe inside. Storm brought you, Seo-yun said, her words careful but clear. Last year, Mama needed help. I saw you in the rain. You did see me, James said, his voice full of emotion. You pointed right at me. How did you know I was coming to help? Seo-yun thought about it for a moment, then smiled. I just knew. I knew help was coming. Minji looked up from her journal. She thought about that night a year ago. The terror and exhaustion. The feeling of being completely alone. Cars driving past. No one stopping. And then Seo-yun pointing into the darkness with absolute certainty. Sometimes help did not look like you expected. Sometimes it came from strangers who became family. Sometimes it came in the form of a lonely old man walking through a storm because he heard someone in trouble. What are you writing? James asked Minji. Our story, she said. So Seo-yun can read it when she's older. So she knows that even when things are hard, even when no one else helps, sometimes one person is enough. One person who chooses kindness can change everything. Thunder boomed outside. Seo-yun did not flinch this time. She was not afraid of storms anymore. Storms brought good things. Storms had brought her a grandfather, a home, a family. Later that night, after Seo-yun was in bed, Minji and James sat together in the shared living room. The rain continued outside, softer now. Do you ever regret it? Minji asked. Taking us in that night? Never, not for 1 second. James looked at her seriously. I was dying before I met you. Not physically, but in every way that mattered. I was just waiting to join my wife and granddaughter. I had nothing to live for, and now I wake up excited to see what Seo-yun will build, what she'll learn. I plan meals thinking about what she might like. I fix things around the house and think about how to make them better for her wheelchair. I'm alive again. You saved us, Minji said quietly. No, James said. We saved each other. That's how it works. Real help goes both ways. Yoonji had visited 3 times over the year. Each time she brought her children. They played with Seo-yun, cousins in every way that mattered. Yoonji had set up a fund for Seo-yun's medical expenses. Family takes care of family, she said, and Minji finally accepted it. The neighborhood threw a party in the shared backyard that summer. Children played, including several with disabilities. Parents who once would have looked away now helped each other. Mrs. Patterson made enough food for everyone. Mr. Rodriguez organized games that all children could play, regardless of ability. Seo-yun sat in her wheelchair in the center of it all, laughing and happy. She was not hidden away. She was not a problem to be solved. She was just a child being a child, surrounded by people who loved her. James stood beside Minji, watching it all. We did this, he said. One act of help in a storm started all of this. You did this, Minji corrected. You chose to help when no one else would. But you chose to accept help. That's just as hard, maybe harder. Minji thought about that. He was right. Accepting help meant making yourself vulnerable. It meant trusting. It meant admitting you could not do everything alone. She had spent years building walls to protect herself and Seo-yun. James had helped her tear those walls down, not completely. She still had fears. She still worried about what would happen when James got older, when his health declined. But Yoonji had promised to help. The neighbors had promised to help. She was not alone anymore. That night, as she tucked Seo-yun into bed, her daughter held up her wrist. Hana's bracelet caught the light from the night sky ceiling. I'm lucky, Mama, Seo-yun said. Yes, baby. We're very lucky. No, Seo-yun said patiently. I'm lucky because the storm came. Lucky because I saw Halabeoji. Lucky because you said yes. Minji kissed her daughter's forehead. You're wise, you know that? I know, Seo-yun said seriously, then giggled. After her daughter fell asleep, Minji stood at the window of their new home. Rain still fell, gentle now. She thought about storms, how they came suddenly and violently, how they scared you and made you feel small, but how they also cleared the air, washed things clean, brought change. She thought about the night that changed everything. The night when cars drove past and no one stopped. The night when she felt abandoned by the world. The night when her daughter pointed into the darkness and said help was coming, and it had come. In the form of an old man with a thermos of tea and a heart big enough to hold 2 more people. A man who needed them as much as they needed him. She thought about all the people who had driven past that night. Did they ever think about the woman and child they left in the rain? Did they feel guilty, or did they tell themselves someone else would help and then forget all about it? She hoped they remembered. She hoped it haunted them a little. Because maybe that small discomfort would make them stop next time. Maybe it would make them be the help instead of hoping someone else would be. Outside, the rain stopped. Clouds parted. Stars appeared in the dark sky. The storm was over, but its gifts remained. A family built from kindness. A home built from compassion. A life built from one person choosing to help when everyone else chose to look away. Minji closed her eyes and sent a silent thank you into the universe. For storms. For the people who walk through them to reach you. For children who see help coming before anyone else does. For second chances and new beginnings. For the shadow in the rain that turned out to be salvation. And for the simple truth that sometimes, in your darkest moment when you think no one cares, when you feel completely alone, all it takes is one person. One person who chooses to see you. One person who chooses to help. One person who says, you don't have to do this alone. That one person can change everything. Thunder rumbled far in the distance, moving away. The storm was leaving, but its work was done. It had brought exactly what they needed, exactly when they needed it most. And that, Minji thought, was not luck or coincidence. That was grace.